Good day everyone. My name is Amira Aziz Ramirez. So ngayon is ipapaliwanag ko sa inyo ang tungkol sa eco-criticism. So before we start is alamin muna natin kung ano ang eco-criticism. Eco-criticism is the world of literary theory in the later part of the 20th century has been marked by the appearance of numerous innovative approaches to reading and studying works old and new.
Eco-criticism highlights that in the later half of the 20th century, many innovative ways of reading and studying literature emerged.
Of the most recent critical perspectives to gain substantial interest goes by many names such as ecopoetics, environmental literary criticism, green cultural studies, and more commonly eco-criticism.
Literary theory wasn't static, new perspectives were developing. The other definition says that eco-criticism is one of the most recent and significantly influential of these new perspectives. It goes by various names: the ecopoetics, environmental literary criticism, green cultural studies, but eco-criticism is the most common. This shows that the field is multifaceted and draws from various disciplines. So, according to William Rockert, he explains that he first used the term in his 1978 essay, The Literature in Ecology, an Experiment in Eco-Criticism. The essay's title itself explains its focus on applying ecological principles to the understanding of literature. The quote further clarifies that it is about using ecological and environmental concepts to analyze literature. This section focuses on the formal establishment of eco-criticism as a field of study. So, eco-criticism's formal beginnings trace back to the ASLE, founded in 1992 during a special session at the Western Literature Association conference in Reno, Nevada. This shows that eco-criticism did not emerge in isolation, but as a response to growing interest in the intersection of literature and environmental concerns within existing academic structures. So, the SLES growth is highlighted by its expansion to include groups in Germany, Japan, the United Kingdom, and Korea. These groups share research ideas and texts related to literature and the environment, demonstrating the fields of international scope and collaborative nature. This signifies that eco-criticism is not confined to a single geographic area of academic institution. So, this section is also emphasized that eco-criticism is dynamic and developing field. So, 8 says that eco-criticism is still evolving. There is not one single universally accepted definitions. The many labels used show the field's complexity and the diverse approaches it encompasses. So the slightly satirical description of eco-criticism as a work of scholars who would rather be hiking suggests that the field's practitioners are deeply engaged with the natural world, not just studying it from a distance, but it also underscores the practical and experiential aspect of the field and the potential tension between academic work and the direct environmental engagement. According to Claude Felty, a co-editor of widely used introductory textbook, the Eco-Criticism Reader 1996 provides a framework for understanding eco-criticism's methods. Her work emphasized that eco-criticism encompasses a broad range of questions, moving beyond simple thematic analysis. Also, Claude Felty highlights a core principle of eco-criticism, the interconnectedness of human culture and the physical world. This means that human actions impact the environment, and conversely, environmental choices affect human societies and culture. So, eco-criticism, according to Claude Felty, focus on the relationship between nature and culture, specifically examining how this relationship is reflected in language and literature. It is presented as a theoretical discourse that bridges the human and non-human worlds. So this also provides the additional definition to broaden the understanding of eco-criticism. So according to Lawrence Wells' definition, it says that he defines eco-criticism as an interdisciplinary study of literature and the environment. His definition emphasizes a collaborative approach, bringing together various scientific disciplines to analyze environmental issues and brainstorm potential solutions. Also, according to Simon S. Essex's definition, he highlights 2 key aspects of eco-criticism. It is commitment to viewing the natural world as an active participant, not merely a buckshot, and it is focused on creating meaningful connection between literature and environmental issues. This contrasts with a purely thematic approach.
So, let's talk about the words that change the world. So, according to Brian Spears, isa siyang poet and instructor at Florida Atlantic University, noted on his blog, poets for living waters won't stop oil from gushing into the Gulf of Mexico, nor will it clean the wings of pelicans or make fish able to breathe. When it comes to real-world effectiveness, poetry is down there with shaking a fist at the tide. But we write it anyway, perhaps because we feel that if our words can change the world, maybe they can chronicle it in some own way. So maybe, if they were powerful enough words, they can convince people to take some real words actions.
Let's explore different definition of nature and culture, and then examines the concept of nature as sacred. So let's proceed to the nature. So this presents 2 contrasting definition of nature. The first definition is dualistic, separating nature from what is human or cultural. Only what is untouched by humanity is considered natural. This view sees nature as distinct from human society. The second definition is monistic, encompassing everything in the phenomenal world except in the supernatural. This view includes human impacts within the definition of nature. Plastic, for example, is considered part of nature under their definition. Both definitions recognize the nature can have intrinsic value, moral, aesthetic, and the spiritual. So let's proceed to the culture. So first is culture is metaphorically defined as the cultivation, agriculture, the cultivation of values or a body of cultivated values. The text cites Raymond Williams' Culture and Society, 1780 to 1950, 1959 in the Long Revolution, 1961 as references for understanding this concept. More recently, sociologists and anthropologists have used the term to refer the entirety of human groups, customs, and institutions.
There are a lot of set of questions about eco-critical or the green readings. So first question is that how is nature represented in these textbooks? Number 2, how is wilderness constructed? Number 3, how is urban nature contrasted with rural or wild nature? Number 4 is that what role does science or natural history play in a textbooks? So number 5 is what are the links between gender and landscape? Is landscape a metaphor? Number 6 is how does environmental ethics or deep ecology inform your reading? And number 8 is does the setting function simply as a background or does it play an active role in the narrative? If it plays an active role, how important is it in working out of the narrative? We have specific question here. It says that can nature writers represent trees? So according to Glenn Love and Sherry Glodfelty, they argue that the eco-critic says yes and speaks for literature as if it had trees in it for good reasons, as if the non-human environment were an actor. So let's proceed to the importance of eco. So by posting connection and relationship, it permits interdisciplinary work to gain authority and analytic power from disciplines outside one's own. At bottom, eco-criticism needs to import scientific authority in order to combat two positions. First is that the culture can be a refuge from nature, and number 2, that nature is merely a cultural constructions.
So let's proceed to the two key aspects of eco-criticism. So it is interdisciplinary nature and it is focused on interconnectedness of nature and culture. So first is the importance of eco. So it says the significance of the eco prefix in eco-criticism and its impact on the fields of methodology. So the core argument is that by emphasizing connection and relationship inherent in the term eco-criticism necessitates an interdisciplinary approach. This means it draws knowledge and analytical tools from various disciplines beyond its own literature, gaining authority and analytic power from this external field, particularly the sciences. So, this explains that this interdisciplinary approach is crucial to challenge two common oversimplified viewpoints. First is that culture provides a refuge from or is separate from nature, and number 2, that nature is simply a cultural construct. Eco-criticism actively works against these perspectives by incorporating scientific understanding to nuance and enrich its analysis. So let's proceed to the interconnectedness of nature and culture. So eco-criticism is defined as the study of culture and cultural products in relation to the natural world. It is presented as a humanistic response to the environmental crisis stemming from a disconnect between humanity and the nature. So it argues that environmental problems largely arise from humanity's disconnection from the natural world. This disconnection is not solely due to technological advancements but also to mentality of over-specialization that hinders a holistic understanding of interconnectedness system. So to truly understand the interconnectedness of all things, disciplines must be reconnected, overcoming the fragmentation caused by excessive specialization.
So there are eco-critical terms and concepts here. First is the greening. So the greening focus on environmental awareness, while the ecocentrism is humans are all equal and interconnected. While the anthropocentrism, it says that it analyzes the world with human as is superior. Then the ecophobia, so it says that when you fear the natural world. And the bioregionalism, it says that it is political or cultural system defined through nature in areas called bioregions. And the second to the last is the biophilia. It says that it is relationship or connection between nature and the humans. And the last one is the ecopoetics, the poetry based around nature or an environmental message image. So let's proceed to the anthropocentrism. So the assumption or view that the interests of human are of higher priority than those of non-humans, often used as an antonym for biocentrism, can cover multitude of possible positions, from positive conviction that human interests should prevail to the belief that zero-degree anthropocentrism is not feasible or desirable. So let's proceed to the biocentrism. So it says that The view that all organisms, including humans, are part of a larger biotic wave or network or community whose interest must constrain or direct the human interest. It used as a semi-synonym for ecocentrism and an antithesis to anthropocentrism, but even most self-identified biocentrists or ecocentrists recognize these ethical paradigms as ideal towards which we strive rather than actualities likely to be implemented and practiced. So, let's proceed to the ecocentrism. So it says that the view in environmental ethics that the interest of the ecosphere must override that of the interest of individual species. Used like the semi-synonymous biocentrism and antithesis to anthropocentrism both, whereas biocentrism refers specifically to the world of organism, ecocentrism points the interlinkage of the organismal and the inanimate.
Let's visit the nature and the sacred. So this explores the representation of nature as sacred in nature writing. Nature is often presented as sacred in nature writing. Sometimes it is referred to as sacred other, possessing extraordinary and pristine qualities. This sacredness is linked to pilgrimage and the wilderness experience. The ideal is described as an intimate and committed relationship with the sacred. The notion of place and being at home are central to these perspectives. The sacredness of nature is not limited to pristine areas. Even environmentally degraded areas can hold sacred significance. So, there are characteristics of sacred nature. So, nature writing often portrays nature as characterized by interconnectedness, vitalism, ongoing creation, vastness, and mystery. Spiritual awareness of nature is often marked by focused attention, direct perception, and focus on the present. Nature's spirituality often incorporates social and political dimensions.